Hi, my name is Sheila, and my husband Dana and I are on a 2-month honeymoon out west, and prior to our leaving we did a build out on the WeeRoll trailer. There are many videos on YouTube on the specifications of this trailer, but no one seemed to really do a good detailed job of the build out. So that's our plan today with this video. The total cost of our build out was $2,700. We did repurpose a lot of materials, and that also included all our interior decorating. The WeeRoll trailer itself is a very bright, white, sunny trailer, so it's got a clean, simple interior, and so we tried to keep it that way. Prior to doing our build-out, we made a list of our must-haves, and then we started based on that. So the first thing we wanted was a trailer that would be warm in the warmer weather and stay cool in the cooler weather, so we needed some insulation. So I'm going to turn the video over to Dana, and he's going to talk about how he insulated the floor.
What we did on the floor here, we started by, of course it was an empty slate, so we had just the aluminum floor. We took a set of 2x4s and built a frame laying flat on the floor and put 1.5 inch semi-rigid foam insulation down. On top of that, I laid 3/4 inch plywood, and the reason for the heavy plywood was so we could anchor things to the plywood and to the 2x4s in the floor. On top of the plywood, we put this flooring in here, which we're just really happy with. All the flooring came from Home Depot, and it worked out really well.
So the next thing we needed was a platform bed. We decided to go with a double bed so that we didn't take up too much floor spacing. So Dana built the platform bed, and underneath the bed we did all of our storage. So Dana took used bed frames and did some welding, and he put some metal frames down there on wheels. So underneath the bed we have 2 complete cabinets that are filled with kitchen storage, and then one in which we have a cooler that rolls out. And they're all on wheels, so they pretty much roll out very nicely, like this. This one is for our cooler, the other 2 are for our food and just all the sundries that you need in terms of camping. One of the things we were concerned about is that we would have movement of the wheeled platforms, and so Dana put some slots on either side of the cabinet, and then chiseled that out and made room for a metal bar. And so before we leave, when we're on the road, we put that metal bar in, and it lifts up very easily. The cabinetry itself is all partitioned so that in each cabinet you've got different areas for storage, which makes things a little bit easier. It gives you quite a bit of roomy storage, and you can see that it's very organized. We have canned goods, we have pasta in one, spices, etc., paper goods, and they all roll in and out very easily, and that's worked out very well for us so far.
The partitions are also all removable. They just slide into place. So if we had something larger, we can just take out the plywood partitions, and I don't know if that, and then yeah, put something larger inside without any issue at all.
For our bedding, we wanted something very comfortable. So on Amazon, we purchased a Japanese futon roll-up mattress, and we used that last year when we were camping, but we found that it just wasn't enough. So on Amazon, we bought a 4-inch gel topper, and we use that, and the bed is just about as comfortable as the bed that we have at home. On top of it, we have several layers of comforters with duvets, so depending on how cold it is, we can burrow down if we need to. We also purchased a couple reading pillows, which we have found very nice. Works out when it's raining outside and you have nothing to do and you want to sit in bed and read. It makes it much more comfortable. For the windows, we just put all curtains up.
So we put up curtains here, just covering the windows. Of course, in the WeeRoll, it's just the rear windows are openable. Front ones are closed all the time. We anchored those curtain rods right into the metal, with just self-tapping screws all the way around.
So the next thing we needed was a kitchen. So we bought a single unit, a shaker unit at Home Depot, And we topped that off with a piece of Brazilian live edge wood that we also purchased from Home Depot. A friend of ours gave us a bar sink, and so we have a bar sink there, and then we have 3 6-gallon storage containers for water, and we have gray water underneath. We do have a pump, but maybe Dana, you could talk a little bit about that.
We bought this foot-operated pump on Amazon. I'm not sure. A bunch of people were complaining about the noise. We didn't find the noise any problem at all. What we did find is when we pump water from our containers, which are stored right over here, 2 6-gallon containers, our problem was that the water that came out of the faucet tasted very plasticky. So we're not sure if we're going to end up having to buy a new pump, and that's why the hose is set up into the sink and out of the way. We're not using the pump right now. After trying it a few times, we just kind of gave up on it. But we will be switching to some other type of pump down the road sometime, because it's really nice having the sink. Under the sink, we put in a storage storage area. I did build a partition, a couple of shelves, and we have a gray 5-gallon gray water tank under the sink, so the water goes directly into that. And then whenever we're at a spot where we can drain it, we just pull the whole tank right out and drain it. Lifts right out of the drain. I made sure that the drain could slide up and out. So that's all set.
We do a lot of our cooking outside, but we can cook inside. I have a nice little mat, and we put a 2-burner Coleman stove there. We can make coffee in the morning. We have a coffee station right here. We usually have this filled with spices. And it tends to be easy to clean, easy to use. We just have a small, simple cutting board. And a lot of the other things we have in here, we've latched down with bungee cords and very simple carabiners. We have a nice trash can there. When we're on the move, this will not roll out. And then we found a nice laundry storage bin over there. On the side, we put some hooks, and that's where we put up, you know, our wet towels and some clothing that we're using. And we also have one on the front of our cabinet, and that's where we put our flashlights and fishing hats. And then inside the cabinet, this is an old cabinet that we bought at an antique store for $100. And then Dana reconstructed the interior. We kept the hanging clothes on one end, and on the other side we have all our clothes in different bins. We purchased these separate bags, and it makes things very easy to find, especially since a lot of what we're doing is hiking. So we have everything related to hiking in one bag. We have, you know, different storage areas, and this keeps things pretty simple. When we're on the move, we take a bungee and we just latch that down, and that keeps everything from this cabinet from everything falling out, and it seems to work pretty well. And I think that's about it. Is there anything else you can think of, Dana?
We didn't mention the wood. The live edge countertop that we used was from Home Depot. They called it Salmon, S-A-M-O-N, or S-A-M-A-N. Anyway, it was a really nice material. We were going to use butcher block and kind of fell in love with all the grain texture. The excess wood I used, cut it up and used it for the backsplash all the way around. It's in pieces, so it's not just one solid continuous piece, but it gave us what we needed for a backsplash, because there is a gap when we went to put it into place, which we expected because we wanted the overhang in the front. But if we had used butcher block, it would have been very similar, but we really liked the appearance of this. We felt it was a much warmer appearance.
And I think the last thing that we did is we found having a rack near the bedroom was very helpful. We used an old rack that we had, and so that's convenient because we have a solar light right there. So when we get up at night, we have our light right there. We have any medications, books, pens, things that you might need in bed before you go to bed. And of course, I'm going to point out the little picture that my daughter made. That's her needle pointing. And we do have some additional artwork that we're going to hang up. We did think about using solar, but the cost of solar can also be very expensive when you think about using batteries, etc. So there is a hole in the back for a air conditioner, and maybe you can talk a little bit about that, Dana.
When we got the WeeRoll trailer, I found that the air conditioner that's supposed to fit in the opening didn't quite fit, and it was turned just the the metal frame, the edges that they had put in were just overhanging a little bit. A couple minutes with a belt sander, I was able to get the sheet metal back to where it needed to be to get the air conditioner to fit. I then built a frame that goes underneath it to support the air conditioner. We only put that in when we're stationary, and then of course it comes out and stores underneath the bed when we're not using it. We will be running it on a generator sometime, and since we are going to run it on a generator, we did put in a smoke and CO2 detector in here just to make sure we don't have any issues.
We decided not to purchase the solar at this point in time, and we're trying to work without that. Our cooler is designed to keep ice for 5 days. We found that in cold climates, it really does work for 5 days. But in hotter climates, that's more like 3. But we've worked around that. And then for interior lighting, we have 3 of these solar lighting lights that also charge your phone. So we have found that that pretty much takes care of most of our electrical needs. So far in our vacation, we've been gone for 3 weeks, and we seem like everything has worked out great for us, and we're very happy with our build out. I think the most important thing before you start to do something like this is really decide what you really want in the trailer. We decided against putting in a shower and a toilet. We have a small head that we could use, but we haven't used it. I don't really feel like cleaning a head or a shower on our way traveling, so we bought a pop-up solar tent. It's a little hard to put in the bag, but the thing stores kind of like this, and you pop it out, and we fasten that to the trailer, and we've got solar heating bags, so if you want to take a hot shower or a cold shower, we just throw a rope over the trailer, tie it to the wheel, and we have a nice mat, which was a good addition because otherwise you're showering in the dirt. So a nice mat, and we have found that that works out perfectly for us. So I hope you enjoyed this video, maybe learned a little bit. Like I mentioned, there really weren't a lot about the build outs of the WeeRoll, and we've been happy so far with our build out and found it to be a reasonable price as well. So happy trailering, or shall I say, off we roll.